Welcome, everyone, to the Pint and Click podcast. My name is Caleb.
And my name is Greg.
And we are going to talk about your favorite video games. So grab a pint of your favorite drink, find a nice, comfy chair, throw on your cowboy hat, and we'll dive into this.
Caleb, I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy with my cowboy hat.
I said it. I only said it because I specifically knew you were rootin' and tootin' today. If you weren't, I wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
But I could feel it.
I appreciate
feel it through the mics. Yeah.
This was the first time we've talked. It's been well documented in the past of my anxiety of getting in my own head when we do the intro. I have too much time to think about how I'm going to say my name. I nailed it that time. I was real happy with that.
Greg, dare I say, you were rooting and tooting.
I was
that
rooting.
time.
I was tooting.
Nice.
I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to that intro over and over again and just really get in my head how I said it because I liked it so much.
It was good. It was good.
Caleb, I played a game over the course of this weekend that I've long owned, long wanted to get into, but have never been able to get into.
Angry Birds Star Wars.
How'd you know? Dude, have you been creeping on my Switch online status?
It's just there. Everybody's got a copy, you know?
The game is Hollow Knight.
I've
spent years of my life trying to get this game and understand why everyone heaps so much praise on it. And it was this weekend that I finally got there.
Nice.
I'll lay the scene for you.
Please do.
I took a little trip this weekend, and maybe I'll get into a little more detail on that later. But I had some time because we rode the train.
Yep.
So I pulled up a guide on how to get into Hollow Knight and, a beginner's guide kind of thing. And I had the time to just sit there and really, really work my way through it. And in doing so, I think I found the magic combination of the game mechanics in Hollow Knight that make it what it is.
Okay.
So, I mean, for those who don't know, Hollow Knight being a Metroidvania, Dark Souls inspired game. The whole point is you go through these 2D platformy kind of worlds and you kill enemies, earn Geo, I think they're called, is the currency, and you use that to buy upgrades, charms, things for your map, all sorts of different things. But if you die, you lose your Geo, and you have to try and go back and kill your little ghost boy to get that back and get your full soul gauge back.
Interesting.
Now, what makes this game, for me at least, and where I finally was able to find my footing and really start to enjoy the game, is in the charms in this game. And charms are basically little things you equip that change how the game plays.
Are they lucky?
They Caleb, you're always after me, Lucky Charms.
I always am. I'm going to get them someday. You'll see.
What charms do is basically one of them that I have equipped is it allows me to have my currency automatically picked up instead of having to chase it around once I die once I kill an enemy.
Yep.
And that's nice because it always felt like at least half of the currency I got from that dropped from killing an enemy fell into spike pits and stuff. So I just lost access to it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty lucky to me.
Another one that I have is normally in this game there is a mechanic where there is a byproduct of the combat is when you hit something you also get blown back a little bit. It has that kind of I don't know what I want to call it, but blowback, I guess.
Yeah, like recoil.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a charm that allows you to negate that. So when you hit an enemy, instead of having that kind of recoil, you stay right in place.
Interesting.
And that's a small helpful thing because there's a lot of small platforms with enemies that if you're standing on them and you hit the enemy, you get blown back off of the platform, and it's a little bit of a pain.
Wow.
So basically, these charms are like gameplay modifiers that make your experience easier.
Yeah.
And from there, I've been able to grind enough to get my currency up to buy other things like helpful map items and whatnot. And once you can kind of master the exploration and like the normal enemy combat, the only real I won't say the only real challenge, but the biggest thing that is left to tackle in the game is like the area bosses, which are kind of similar to the traditional Dark Souls boss fights. You know, they're wicked challenging, and you really have to figure out how the what do they call it when the things you can, like the indicators before an enemy's attack, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm forgetting what you call that, but
I've no clue. A blip.
there's a name for like reading their attacks, you know, like so if it does a certain pre-animation, it's going to do one attack versus a different animation for another attack.
Gotcha.
And getting good at those and forecasting those and avoiding them and dealing damage. And once you beat those bosses, in my experience, you get a new ability, and that's like the big Metroidvania part of it is these new abilities then allow you to backtrack through other parts of the map that you've been in and do things you couldn't have done without those abilities.
Interesting.
It's a pretty good experience. I gotta say, I'm really glad that I've stuck with it because I think I've owned this game since I first had a Switch, which was like 2017. So 6 years later, I finally have gotten into this game.
Yeah, I feel like it is one of those games where like I think everybody that has a Switch probably got it at some point. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
I've seen it on everybody's Switch. But yeah, I personally I think I might have even bought it during like a sale or something, but I don't know if I've ever actually played it. So I need to give it a shot.
It's like really tough early game, but I think it does the like learning curve or like the skill curve to like challenge curve pretty well. If you stick through the first couple of hours and I'll be honest, for me, it was really helpful to use some online resources to kind of guide myself through those early, really, really challenging hours.
Yeah, yeah.
But there is a point where you start getting some abilities that you don't have in the early game, and the game really starts to like open up and feel good. It's like you're so heavily restricted in the early game, and you're also like at the lowest of your like just natural skill in the game.
Yeah.
So as you're getting these unlocks, not only are you getting better at the game skill wise, you're getting like things that actually make the game easier in a way.
Interesting.
So
yeah.
it really does get like exponentially easier as you go, it seems like.
That's awesome.
And like the reward of sticking through it, and one of the biggest reasons I've wanted to kind of find the fun in this game is that like each different area of the world is visually distinct, and they're just like so as you get further into the game in these different areas, it just seems like they just keep getting more and more pretty. And I've really wanted to experience all these different sections of the map because it is like a really, really beautiful game.
Yeah, it sounds pretty neat.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm about 11 hours in. I started the weekend at I think just under 4. So it was a busy weekend of Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Yeah. Um I tell you what, I did a thing, Greg, and it's a thing I'm not proud of, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Rockstar Howard once again came up to me with Skyrim Dead Redemption, and I bought it. You know, I did it, Greg. I did the thing. And I gotta tell you, Greg, yeah, it's good. Is it worth the brand new price they're charging for it? Definitely not. Um, but before I dive into that too much, I was gonna save this for a little later, but I tell you what, it's just too gosh darn good. I gotta share it with you now, Greg. Uh, this commences what? Not a high number. We're only on like our fifth or something. It's been pretty low, but this commences our next refreshment roundup, brought
Oh,
to you by the Pint and Click
oh,
podcast.
oh.
Greg, today I am drinking a beautiful beverage. It's finally back. You know what I'm talking about, Greg.
My
It's
God.
finally here.
Is it? It's too
Pumpkinhead.
early.
It's
No,
Pumpkinhead.
it's too early.
It's Pumpkinhead. It is back. It is on the shelf. I'm taking a sip. Wait. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I tell you what, it's back on the shelf for whatever reason it is. I also thought too early they wouldn't have it, but I went to the local market to pick up some drinks for the podcast. Figure might as well have something fun to sip. And there it was on the shelf, staring me down, and I can't resist that. So I picked up some Pumpkinhead, and let me tell you, it is my favorite alcoholic beverage. All right, it is. It's just a treat. Tastes like a nice slice of pumpkin pie with a little bit of something extra in there to give you a little kick. And yeah, I love it. Greg, we rate them, you know. So
Now,
this
Caleb,
is.
before
Oh yeah,
we rate them indeed.
yeah,
You know the scale though, right?
yeah. It's all decimals. Some fractions.
No, not quite.
Rate them with animals. I'm gonna give this one a solid sheep out of farm.
All right, Caleb. It
Um,
seems like you may need a little reminder. It is a 0 to 100 scale with no decimals or anything but what do they call them? Natural numbers? Is that the
no umlauts. We don't use
no
umlauts
umlauts?
here. Yeah. So, Greg, this is an easy one for me. This is 100. This is an absolute 100. All right. I could give it. I could try to be more professional here and say like, well, it doesn't quite get this part of my palate. It's just a 100 for me, man. I can't even lie.
We aren't drink reviewers here on this podcast.
Well, that's yeah, exactly.
We
And
merely rate the drinks
mhm,
in a way that might be perceived as reviews.
exactly. So that's gonna be yeah, that's a 10 out of 10, a 100 out of 100. I love it. And we what else do we do here, Greg, on this little refreshment roundup? Why don't you tell the viewers what we do?
Now, Caleb, this is a traditional refreshment roundup, correct?
Oh yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, clarify. Here on the refreshment roundup, I have this question I like to ask you, or if I'm drinking, you will ask me. And that question is, if you were to sit down, kick back, grab a controller, and crack a nice fresh Pumpkinhead, what game would you be playing with this Pumpkinhead? What drink? Nope. What game does this drink remind you of?
Greg, I'm so glad you asked. I'm gonna tell you three that I can think of. Because there's some different moods that it gives.
This is groundbreaking.
Yeah. On one hand, you kind of want to pair it with something spooky. You know, it's a nice fall drink, a nice Halloween themed, pumpkin. Well, fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving. It's all those things. It's just a little pumpkin treat. You know, and to me, I kind of want to pair it with something spooky sometimes. So for the spooky part, I gotta say, Until Dawn is it's one of those games where it's a movie, you know, and you just kick back and you play it. You know, you probably don't do the whole thing in one sitting because that's ridiculous, but you do a lot of it, you know, and you watch it like a movie. And I think this is a delightful beverage to accompany you during that movie. But if watching movies aren't your thing and you want to play more of a spooky game and less of a spooky movie, I gotta say Resident Evil Village is what comes to mind for me. Resident Evil, there's something about the especially those starting locations in Resident Evil Village where you're in Well, the village. Um, it's just yeah, very spooky and fall and well, I think winter honestly in that, isn't it? Fall, winter, it's around
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere in there. There's snow eventually, I think. Um, but yeah, that Resident Evil Village, that's what comes to mind. But maybe you're thinking it doesn't need to be a spooky game, but it just needs to be something Halloween themed. I got you covered for that too. Arkham Knight is a great game that comes to mind. Takes place on Halloween night. What? You can't get much more Halloween than that, you know? And it is in ways it could be a spooky game. There's a lot of scarecrow stuff happening. There's the fear toxin stuff that I mean the beginning of the game, holy shit, that scared the shit out of me the first time I played that because I was not expecting that. So yeah, I would say those are the three games that I would pair a nice Pumpkinhead with.
I personally would agree on Resident Evil Village. I think that was a very solid choice.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't played the other two. I've only watched Until Dawn footage.
You've never played Arkham Knight?
No.
Oh my god, that's a whole other can of worms.
That's not the game where Joker does his dirty deeds, is it?
No. I believe that's Arkham Asylum.
Okay, that's good. I don't condone Joker hitting the gritty.
Oh, kicking a dude kicking a police officer, especially in the balls, is fine, but hitting the gritty is too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
Now, Caleb, you've really brought up a moral quandary for me.
Yeah.
It seems that every year these companies be pushing the holidays earlier in the year. And now
Yeah.
I have to choose between enjoying myself a nice Pumpkinhead on August 21st, the year of our Lord 2023, or if I hold out in the name of all things good in this country and wait until at least mid-September before getting my hands on this Pumpkinhead.
I tell you what, for me, Pumpkinhead is like it's like an 80s rock star and drugs, you know? Like I could wait for Pumpkinhead and push it off and stuff, but I don't wanna, you know? Pumpkinhead has it's got as long as it's out, especially because it's only out for so much time, it's got a permanent place in my fridge. So, tell you what, we'll be keeping Pumpkinhead stocked all throughout this nice, lovely upcoming fall.
You know, Caleb, makes me think.
Yeah.
We gotta get together sometime. Nice cozy fall evening. Crack some pumpkin heads and have a nice fire.
Oh my god, I was just gonna say a fire. Oh man. You wait until we you wait till we get the outside gear and we do the Pint and Click annual fire episode. Yeah,
With a special microphone just for the fire.
Yeah. Oh man, you know what though? That is kind of revolutionary if you think about it. Nobody else is doing that.
No,
Everybody's
no.
just having a little digital fake fire going on in the audio. We mic up a real fire. You'll hear the mic slowly burn to a crisp in real time.
Yeah, Greg, how'd you destroy your SM58? Well, that's a long story.
The flames.
The flames.
There's something in those flames.
It went through the fire in flames.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
yes, I've done it. Completed the
Nice.
loop.
Nice. So
Caleb, will you
yeah.
please
Yeah.
tell me about Red Dead Redemption?
I will. Well, no, I won't. Because what can I say, Greg? It's a hot pile of shit. No, I'm kidding. I'll gladly tell you about it. So here's the thing. It's Red Dead 1, and it is just Red Dead 1. To make this clear, in case the trailers are looking it up or whatever didn't for anyone, it is not a remaster. It is not a remake. It is just a port over to the PlayStation 4, especially. Not even a PlayStation 5 port, and where they could easily again make use of the new next gen and use those, make a remaster for that or something. No, it's a standard port for the PlayStation 4.
And the Nintendo Switch.
And the Nintendo Switch, yeah. The beauty of that though is that using your PS5, This is the first time Sony has actually allowed real life backwards compatibility. So you can play that port on your PS5, which is what I did. And yeah, it is pretty standard Red Dead Redemption. Surprisingly, though, I ran into very few bugs. Um, and by that, I should specify only bugs that I believe I would have seen playing the normal game. Just your standard, like, it's kind of a janky old game now, you know? So it's things like that that I ran into. But not a lot. It ran very well, as it should for a PS3 era game. Um, it ran good. It looked good. I heard something about that the frame rate was capped at like 30 and stuff, and I don't know if you're a frame rate snob, you might not like it. For me, I didn't notice anything. It looked fine. There were some parts where it would run and it would look a little bit lagging behind, but it was very few times that where that happened. For the most part, it ran pretty smooth and it looked decent. The graphics aren't the best, and some of the voice lines have aged, just like fine milk. Some of the character models too, they don't look great. But at the heart of it, it's still an amazing Western story. Um, it's a memorable protagonist with great lines and stuff, and overall, it's decent. So where I'm at with it is I don't recommend it to to old players. I don't recommend it to old players. Like if you've played Red Dead 1 before and you want to get this solely to go back and relive your childhood memories, it might be fun and you might, you might want to play all the way through. But I bought this expecting to want to go through the whole game again, and honestly, it's a little bit of a struggle after playing Red Dead 2 and seeing all of the improvements and stuff that are missing from this game. Um, so I'm not sure how far I'll get in it. I'm still gonna try to devote some time and at least get partially through it. But we'll see. But I do recommend this to new players. If you've never played Red Dead 1 before, even if you've played Red Dead 2, if you've never played Red Dead 1, I still definitely recommend this. If you can get past the graphics and some of the jankiness and those milky voice lines that have aged so poorly, um, you're gonna find a great story at the center with a great protagonist. The voice acting, uh, some of the lines that they say aren't great, but the voice acting for it, the people saying those lines, they still do a pretty good job. Especially, I cannot stress enough how much I love Rob Wiedoff. He is the voice of John Marston. He is a fantastic voice actor, especially for somebody that doesn't even really do a lot of it. I think Red Dead might have been his only voice acting gig ever. Red Dead 1 and 2. It doesn't seem like he's done a ton of anything else. Great dude. Check him out on Instagram. He builds chicken coops and barns, and he's a real life farmer. Very fun to watch. Does tons of Red Dead content. Check him out. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Red Dead 1.
No, Kel, I want to talk about the part of Red Dead Redemption that most stumped me when I was playing the game.
Okay.
So do you remember the part where you're floating down the river on the raft?
Yes, yep, when you're going to Mexico.
Yeah, and
Yep.
you have to do the like shooting and not dying.
Yeah, yep.
I did a lot of the dying.
Yeah,
during that
that's
part.
fair.
I don't know if that was a struggle for other people, but man, oh man, I did not enjoy that part.
Red Dead 1 is definitely I think it's a tougher game than Red Dead 2. I don't know, I couldn't tell you the reason. I couldn't tell you if it's some kind of difficulty thing or what, but I believe I'm playing on whatever standard options for difficulty Red Dead 1 came with, and it's surprisingly, like, God, getting shot, it packs more of a punch than I remember it packing. But Yeah, it's kind of a tough game. I can't remember if I ever got stuck on that part or not. I know I beat the game way back when getting ready for Red Dead 2 before that came out. But man, that was like when did Red Dead 2 come out? 2018?
Gotta be.
Yeah. So it was a long time ago.
I played it in the correct order, actually, where I played Red Dead 2 first and then Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it, I think, if you I guess if you haven't played Red Dead 1 at all, I definitely recommend doing Red Dead 2 first, because then you get all the backstory and like uh yeah, meeting all of the gang members again. Is it actually, you feel something because now you know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I want to just keep trucking with this I was gonna say remake, but nope, they did not do us that honor.
Port.
Um Port, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the reasons I want to keep going with it. I wanna see everything that Red Dead 2 gave us. I wanna see it all come to a conclusion. So yeah, we'll see. So Greg, what else you got for me today?
I don't know how much really I have to say on this topic, but I do want to bring it up because it deserves to be said. What would I would be remiss in my job as a video game podcaster if I didn't bring this up.
Lay it on me.
I said this to you in a message last night, but how did they fool us with Tears of the Kingdom into thinking that game ran well?
Yeah. Yep.
I jumped in last night or yesterday midday, and I spawned into a fight with a bunch of the little goobly goobler guys. You know, the goobly goobers.
Yeah, I'm aware. Yep, the Goobly Gooblers.
Yeah, and I'm running around, and the game is like running at like what 15 frames a second, like
Yeah.
just skipping so bad, and I'm like, were we pretending that the game ran good?
So, my question for you, was it just like a horde of bokoblins that you were fighting?
Yeah.
Or was it one of those things where you have the knight army that helps you?
Not the I had my crew, you know.
Okay, just your little spirit men.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha, cuz there are those missions where you can like assist knights in taking out like outposts. Um and I remember when I did those, I definitely ran into like a lot of lag because there's just so many things on screen and so much happening.
Yeah, it's quite frankly, it immediately turned me off from trying to play more of that game.
Yeah, I think the little ghost companions also might slow things down a bit. Because I'm thinking about it, I feel like I also ran into some lag just having the little bird guy follow me.
Yes, it's kind of unacceptable, and I don't know. I think in a lot of ways, it's like I think it's really going to affect my long term opinion of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
But
that's the kind of stuff that if there is a fix that can be done to it, we'd love to see. But yeah, no, that's definitely some hard to play through kind of stuff.
well, here's one fix I could think of. Nintendo could not put out hardware that's 2 generations behind.
That's true too. Yeah, yep.
That is one option that they could explore, and it might be interesting. Who knows?
Well, when they did the OLED Switch, that didn't have any like better components in it, did it? Aside from the OLED,
It has an OLED screen.
right? And that's it.
Yes, and there
Okay.
was a theory that that was going to be like a Switch Pro,
Yes,
but
that's what I was wondering
then there
about.
was the chip shortage in 2020.
Mm,
So it's speculated that that is why that didn't come to pass.
gotcha. Yeah, I don't see what the problem is. They just got to go stock up on more chips. You got tortilla at stores, maybe some Lay's. Come on, get it together, Nintendo.
gonna
Pick
let-
a chip already.
I'm gonna let that one hang in the air for a minute.
Cool. Anyways, what else you got for me, Greg?
Well, Caleb, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about my trip this weekend.
Yeah, please do.
Thursday, we boarded a train, Gabrielle and I,
Nice.
for the big city of Boston.
Nice.
And first off, train's underrated. Not enough people are sleeping on the train. Literally, people are sleeping on the train, and people are undervaluing the train.
I was going to say, the last time I rode a train, everybody was sleeping on it. So, yeah, I get you there.
I really enjoyed just being able to park in Portland. Thankfully, I technically parked in South Portland because connections nearby. But and then we got on the train and just rolled our way to Boston. It was great. Didn't have to stress about driving in Boston, trying to fit a big car into any compact parking spots. It was great.
How long of a ride is that, if you don't mind me asking?
So we left at, I believe, 12:45.
Yeah.
And we showed up in Boston like 3:15.
Okay, yeah, that's not that bad.
Yeah,
I wondered if a train would take longer than just like driving down or something, because you got to wait for like takeoff and such, but it doesn't sound like it.
not super. I mean, not negligibly. Probably it is a little longer, but also you figure like you're not dealing with traffic in the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we got down there, we checked into our hotel, and then we went to Funkadelic. Parliament Funkadelic, to be more specific, at the MGM Music Hall right next to Boston.
Nice.
And it was a good time. The George Clinton is about 155 years old.
Yeah.
So it was really just a bucket list item to see George Clinton, but the band was real tight. The first opener was really, really, really quite good, I felt. My only complaint was that George Clinton did a very self-indulgent build of the set list.
Oh.
He played like Flashlight and One Nation Under a Groove, like half of each song back to back, like in a transition between the two. And then the rest of the night was just like songs that weren't quite as popular and just a bunch of like improvising and jamming in those songs.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it wasn't like the most like I don't know how I want to put it. If you like jam bands, I guess it was probably quite the time. But for someone who was kind of going more for the funkadelic hits, it was left something to be desired in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting pumped. I got Victor Wooten coming up again in 2 months. Gonna go see him. See, you hear that, all of you listeners? We don't just listen to video game soundtracks.
I almost exclusively don't listen to video game soundtracks.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know if I've ever listened to a video game soundtrack. So there, look at that. We're a couple of music boys too.
The following day, on Friday,
you listened to a video game soundtrack.
I listened to a video game soundtrack. No, we got up and went to tour Fenway. Did a little Fenway Park tour. It was disappointing in only in the way that Morgan Wallen was in the middle of a 3-night set of shows at Fenway, and so his stage was set up and all that. We couldn't go on the Green Monster because they had pyro up there, and
wow.
That was a bummer, and especially because like Morgan Wallen sucks. So
I don't know if I know who that is.
Keep it that way. It's better
no,
for
Greg,
you.
you keep it that way. I'm not going to keep it that way.
He's a bad country musician. With,
I got to know who he is now.
Okay,
you know?
He's a bad country musician with a speckled past in making comments about certain groups of people.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it where it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna look into that one. You've changed my mind.
So yeah, it was a bummer that he was occupying Fenway Park as I was taking the tour, and his fans
Gotcha.
were there while we were doing the Funkadelic concert. But other than that, it was a great time.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it would be cool. I wanna do a tour of Fenway sometime. Yes, hopefully when there's nothing there. I didn't know that they offered that, honestly.
Yeah, it's a real good time. They take you around, they show you, they talk about the history of the ballpark, and
Can you get a Frank?
not during the
Oh
tour.
my god, then what's the point in going? Oh,
Noted Fenway Frank enthusiast Caleb.
yeah, of course. The last time I had one, it was cold. So I'm
Mhm.
looking for a redemption here. Greg, speaking of Franks, did you get a train Frank?
I did not.
I don't know if they still do them. I should also say I don't know what train does them. I know I went on the Amtrak a long time ago, and they did hot dogs. I think I was young. It wasn't good.
I on the way down because it was about lunchtime when we were going down. Um, I got a bag of Doritos, some hummus, and a seltzer water. So all things that didn't need to be prepared by anyone. They came prepackaged.
Nice. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
So Greg, I've got two games here that
Oh,
don't want to talk a ton about.
Oh, Caleb,
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
This is terrible etiquette, but there is one more thing I need to mention about my trip.
yeah, please do.
So after the tour, we walked to a place that Gabby had spotted out as it as a bookstore, and it had like a cafe in it. So we
Okay.
got lunch there and did some book shopping. And it was right next to the Johnny Cupcakes.
I was just gonna say I saw that you went to the little oven store.
So, Caleb, I got redemption on my Johnny Cupcakes
Mhm.
situation.
Nice.
It was great. I got a $20 shirt that was on like markdown because they wanted to get rid of it.
Did it come out of an oven?
I brought it up to the front and paid for it. They took it back and they wrapped it up in some nice tissue paper, threw in a couple of little goodies, and then put it in like a pastry box. And then they rung the bell, and the guy that was the like cashier said, "Order up." And he opened the oven, and smoke poured out, and he took the box out and gave it to me.
Oh my god, that's so good.
It was a good time,
That is so good.
and it's a nice little shirt with a little cat on it. So
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Was it in the same spot?
yes,
When,
it was
when
the
we
new
went to-
place. Yeah, the place that I looked at so dejected when we were in Boston.
Gotcha. Wow, that's funny.
Yeah. The opening was actually, I don't know if we've ever touched on this. The opening of that location was 7 calendar days after we were there.
Wow.
We missed it by a week.
Wow. That's something.
So yeah, I got my redemption. I did need you to know about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've got two games here that I just want to touch on. I don't have a ton to say about both of them, because one of them I've already talked about, and the other is just a fun little thing I want to throw in there. I recently went back to Jedi Survivor, when I was getting fed up with Red Dead 1 and the blandness of the graphics and such. I dipped back into Jedi Survivor. Whatever reason, something made me want to go back to it. And I got the game installed again, jumped into it, and immediately started finding gear that I missed when I played it months ago. It's just kind of a fun little thing there. Haven't played it in a while, and still going back to it. I was finding new stuff and having a good time. And it is a pretty good game. I don't think it has a lot of like I don't want to say replay value, because like you could like do all the new game plus stuff, but it doesn't have a lot of reasons to continue playing after you beat it for me. It just kind of gets to a point where like unless I'm gonna go achievement hunting, there's pretty much, very little I actually care to do now. But with that being said, I did end up finding some new gear, and after I got the first chest, it gave me a little bit more motive to want to keep playing and get to the next one. Because I'm still missing a good bit of equipment in the game. So yeah, I dived back into that, had some fun there, and then over this weekend, I had a good friend come up, and we played a beauty of a game called Broforce.
Okay, I've seen this game, but I don't know much about it.
It is the most patriotic game you'll ever see in your whole goddamn life. I tell you what, it is star spangled action is what that is. There's American flags, there's bald eagles. The whole game is about 80s action heroes, but they change parts of their names to bro to fit the Broforce theme. And it's a ridiculous, over the top game where at first you fight just some, I think it's just like some group of terrorists or something, and then after that, you immediately start fighting the devil. It's wild. I beat this game a long time ago with my friend, and all of a sudden, they just announced that they had a big comeback update to the game, where they recommend people start it from the beginning because they've added new levels, new enemies, new bros to play as. So my friend and I, we dipped back into it, and we didn't get super far, but we got at least through like level 6 or 7, I think. And each level is like a bunch of mini levels. It's one, like, I guess you could almost call it like a chapter filled with levels. So we made it a good bit through. But I'll tell you right now, my favorite bros to play as, big fan of Rambro. It's a classic. I love Indiana Brones. He's got a whip, and his special is he uses the pistol. Those are just some characters, some of my favorites
So
amongst
stupid.
amongst the list of bros you can play as.
Do they have Sylvester Stallone?
Well, I mean, you got Rambro, so pretty much, yeah. You get a Chuck Norris as oh my god, I can't even think of what the game calls him. It's just the Walker Texas Ranger, but they throw bro somewhere in there. You get the Terminator. You can play as, God, everybody. The Brodock Saints. The Boondock Saints. God, everybody. Blade, you can play as him. I don't even know how they fit bro into his name, but they do it. It's wild, and each character has their own like special move, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, it's a pretty good time. It's over the top, absolutely ridiculous and stupid, and like the game knows it. And like I don't want to spoil things about the game because not that there's a story to spoil anyways, really, but there's a good cutscene which just showcases like how stupid the game is, where it's one of the somewhere in the middle of the beginning levels. There's a suicide bomber character that runs at you and blows up. And they have this whole little cutscene where you watch him start as a baby, and then it cuts to him as a child, and the whole time he's wearing a bomb vest and like playing sports as a kid and stuff. And then all of that ends with him running at you and exploding. So it's just stupid, over the top, ridiculous action and dumb humor. But that's what makes it such a gem.
I think it came to Game Pass recently, so I think that's where I've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember.
Definitely give it a try sometime if it's on there. I mean, or even buying it. I'm sure the game's like $1 now because it's so old. It was I think a 2015 title. But yeah, holds up. It's a pretty fun. I don't want to say complex because it's not at all complex, but like it's a 2D. So to explain what it is, because I guess I've just told you about the absurdity of it, but to explain what the game actually is, it's a 2D side-scrolling shoot 'em up kind of game, I guess. You're it's a mix of platforming and shooting, and yeah, it's all 2D side scrolling. What's cool though is you have these maps that are stacked really high, and the ground layer is always pretty high, and it's cool because you can tunnel through the ground layer. You can hit the ground and tunnel through it. Um, Not quite in a Minecraft way, but more in like a I don't even know what a good example is, honestly. But it's neat. There's different things like that that make you try a couple different play styles. There's boss fights at the end of some of the levels, and they're creative boss fights too. One that stuck out to me that I did recently with my friend was a boss where, in order to defeat him, he had this giant health bar at the top, and every time you took down the health bar and you got it to zero, it would fill back up again. And then come to find out what you need to do is you actually need to shoot the ground underneath him and make him fall through the map to kill him. So just fun, unique boss fights and stuff that keep you on your toes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
So speaking of games that recently came to Game Pass,
Yeah.
I started a game that I've had a long admiration for, but never actually played. I watched a Jacksepticeye playthrough, I believe.
Oh yeah.
It was Firewatch.
Yeah.
That game it feels like a game that you don't really need to play if you've watched it. It's pretty pared down in as far as gameplay elements are concerned.
Yeah.
But it was on Game Pass, and I was like, I really like this game, and I would like a chance to actually play it a little bit. Maybe not play it to completion, but jump in and reminisce on the game.
Yeah.
And man, it's sad to start.
Oh yeah. Have you gotten very far in it?
I just got to the beginning of day 2.
Okay, because here's what I'm going to recommend, and do it or don't. But I will tell you, as somebody that also initially watched the game, when it came out and stuff, knowing the story, it was fun to play through when I bought it and played it. But what made it more fun was having Maddie with me when I played it because she did not know the story.
Yeah.
If you can, definitely play it with somebody that doesn't know the story. Like, I don't know if Gabby does or what, but definitely that's absolutely worth playing with somebody. It's so fun to, especially since you know the story, it's so fun to watch their reaction because that game is wild. Without spoiling things, it's a wild game.
Yeah. And like the dialogue in that game really is what makes it.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yep.
the gameplay is pretty. It would be pretty solidly defined as a walking simulator, and
Oh yeah. It's
whatever
definitely a walking sim.
positive or negative connotations that name has with it. But like the dialogue and the banter in that game is what makes it so good and like really what it is. I feel like
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
it comes from a period of games like that. Like, I mean, the Stanley Parable was a couple of years before it, but I'd put it on that same kind of level,
Yeah.
where like the dialogue is done well, so it doesn't feel like you're just walking around mindlessly.
Absolutely. Oh, the Stanley Parable is another great game.
Yeah, have you played the game they came out with it last year?
Yeah.
The,
Yep.
like Ultra Deluxe or whatever.
Oh yeah, with the bucket.
That was
Yeah.
actually my first time like playing all the way through that game.
It was my first time playing it, not my first time seeing it.
Yeah, so I played I think I played the demo on a high school friend's computer.
Yeah.
And I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of people playing it because it's just it's such a fascinating concept of a game.
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
the Ultra Deluxe was the first chance I really had to play it on a console that I owned because I didn't previously have a PC, so it was nice to have it on systems I could play it on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. To finish out, I want to bring up one more thing. Greg, have you ever seen Goodfellas?
Not all the way through.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorite movies. I just watched it again last night. Maddie was gone on a trip. overnight. So I was at the house by myself and figured, you know what, I'm gotta put on some Goodfellas. And this is probably like at least like the seventh time I've seen the movie, and man, I love it. It's so fun. It's just a classic mob movie, and it's so good, and it's all based. Who knows how much of it is super accurate with that kind of shit, but it is based on a real story, and like, it's nuts. Great movie. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I think I was one. I actually I can't remember. I watched him. I think I watched Goodfellas a couple months back. The problem is it's so long. I'm so bad with long movies, dude. It's a character flaw of my own, but
That's fair. Yeah, I honestly, I definitely remember it being long, but I've watched it so many times now that like it just feels like a 2 hour movie to me. But yeah, it is definitely a long movie. I think it's around like the 2.5 hour mark. Uh, yeah, it's long. I would rather watch that than any of the Godfather movies. Which listen, I know what it means to say that. I know that I'm disappointing film buffs everywhere, but the Godfather movies are those movies that are just too long for me. They're all like in the 3 hour to like 3.5 mark, and like that's too much for me.
yeah, I agree. Well, Caleb, I think we've done a 26th episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say this episode's almost too long for me now. Yeah.
We didn't mention it up to this point, but 26 marks the official half a year mark for
Wow,
this
does it really?
podcast. Yeah, 52 weeks in a year.
Nice.
Uh, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. That's the YouTube one, but do one of those things somewhere.
Smash the like button.
Smash. If you want to tell me about Hollow Knight or Caleb about how much he's wrong about Red Dead Redemption,
Yeah.
email us at greg@pintandclick.com. I will say all of the hateful words you say to Caleb for you.
Yeah.
I will say them with great detail.
And as the person that has to hear this, make it sting, I don't want those. I don't want weak words, all right? Make me regret my life choices.
Yep, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
We have a website, pintandclick.com. You can find transcripts of the episodes as well as transcripts of the episodes.
And we have an email now, Greg. What's that?
Still greg@pintandclick.com. Are you
Nice.
punking me, Caleb?
Oh, did you say it already?
When I was saying you say hateful things to Caleb?
Oh shit,
I
you're
was
right.
plugging
Sorry,
the-
my bad. My cat got on my desk.
No
I've been
worries.
trying to shoo my cat.
I actually thought you were pranking me there. I was like,
No, I was stopping my cat from slinging my bottle cap across the room.
It's all right. It's all right. We also have Instagram, pint_.
And we have an email.
Yeah.
What's that, Greg? Couldn't resist.
Well, anyways, until next time, enjoy.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.